आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार, जय हिंद। Today I am here to make a simple statement. It is whatever I do for my channel, every that single video which I upload on my YouTube channel, there is a simple message to pass on to my viewers. It is about communication skill. It is about public speaking. Communication skill and public speaking are really important for everybody, and the sooner you learn it, the better it is for you. And there are really some simple tasks to be done, to be performed, to get into involved, and if anybody does those simple things, one can very easily have a good communication skill, a good skill of to be a good public speaker. One of them is reading books. So today I am here to introduce a book. That's why you can see me holding a book while making a video. Otherwise, I never come with any kind of prop and books or material to make a video. Now you might be surprised that I am holding a book called Flamingo, which is taught in class 12th. Now you might wonder that how this book is going to help you unless are you students of class 12th. You may not be studying in class 12th. You might be going to some college, university, or you may be studying in some junior classes. You might be a professional already working, already employed. So I want to tell you that any story or any piece of poetry is not limited, restricted for any class, for any college, for any university. Every story that you read from any class, from any story, from anywhere, from any source, any piece of poetry recite from anywhere, it enhances your confidence, your level of communication, and it makes you a smart and confident public speaker. This book is called Flamingo. So this book, this stories and the poems given in this book are as important to anybody as it is for class 12th. Yes, of course I am making it for class 12 students studying in class 12th and going to appear for this board exam. But it is equally important for everybody. In this book they are given some 8 stories, short stories which are representative of fictions and 6 poems, and I am going to explain very briefly so that you will have enough of interest for all the 8 short stories and all the 6 poems, and you would pick this book and start reading those short stories and poems, because storytelling and poetry recitation are the most effective tools to learn English really fast. Fine, let us start with the first chapter. The first chapter in this book is called The Last Lesson, written by a French writer Alphonse Daudet. This book has a good collections, writers coming from the different themes, different genre, different parts of the world. One is from France, other is from Sweden, next is from England. There are 2 autobiographies, there is 2 biographies, there is 1 media writing. It's really good collections. Let us start with the first chapter. The first chapter is The Last Lesson, written by French writer Alphonse Daudet. The chapter is based on Franco-Prussian War, fought in the year 1870 to 71. In the war, France was defeated by German forces. Therefore, German people forced the teaching and learning of German in the schools of France, in the schools of the districts Alsace and Lorraine, replacing French. That is the story is about. Main character is M. Hamel, a French teacher, and a student friends. So the chapter is about how people reacted when their mother tongue French was replaced with German, and the theme of the chapter is language imposition, language loyalty, language chauvinism, procrastination, postponing the thing for the future, future time to be done and taking opportunity for granted. I think these few lines are enough to arouse that much of interest in you that you will read this beautiful chapter called Third Level. Now, going for the next chapter, second chapter is The Lost Spring. A beautiful title, Lost Spring. Spring is the most beautiful season of all seasons, and childhood phase of a life is the golden stage in a person's life, in a human being's life. And if somebody is not able to enjoy, live his life in a playful manner, in a carefree manner, that means that childhood, the spring is lost. The childhood is lost. That is how this beautiful title is given, Lost Spring. It is written by Anis Jung. It is a kind of a biography. The theme of this chapter is grinding poverty and tradition which condemn these children to a life of exploitation. The theme is child labor. This chapter has two parts. First part is Sometime I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. It is about the rag pickers based on Simapuri, which is situated at the outskirts of Delhi, and they have migrated from Bangladesh. They are into rag picking, and that is the means of their survival. The main character of the story is Sahib-e-Alam. There is an irony in his name. He doesn't have a pair of shoes in his feet, and his name is Sahib-e-Alam, which means the Lord of the Universe. Towards the end of the chapter, we see that Sahib-e-Alam wants to change his life, and that's why he takes up a job at a tea stall which gives him rupees 800 at the end of a month, but he is not happy because he has lost his freedom. The second chapter for Lost Spring is I Want to Drive a Car. This chapter is again about bangle makers, the city of bangle making, Firozabad, where the people born into the family of bangle making, they take this profession as something which is destined by God from heaven, and they work in a very hazardous condition, because of which they lose their eyesight and they have the health problems and they die untimely death. The main character is Mukesh. At the end of the chapter, we see that Mukesh tries to do something different from his family members, from the people of his community. He wants to drive a car, he wants to become a mechanic. For that again he has to face a lot of challenges. So this is the chapter Lost Spring. Third chapter is Deep Water. It is an autobiography by William Douglas. William Douglas was a close friend and legal advisor to American President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And in this autobiography, William Douglas has described two of his misadventures which happened to him in the early phase of his life. Both are related with the getting drowned in water. The first misadventure happened when he was very young, 3 to 4 years, and his father took him to California beach, and there he was knocked down by a wave. So that left a very scary experience, and that remained with William Douglas for a long time. The second adventure happened when he tried to come out of the fear of water and he wanted to learn swimming. For that reason, he got himself admitted and registered for YMCA pool. Hardly he had gone there to learn the swimming, and he had not learned anything. Then he was thrown into the deeper part of the swimming pool by a very tall and hefty boy, and that again was a very drowning experience, which made him so much scared that even he got scared with the slight mention of the name water. And the rest of the story is how he finally conquered his fear of water by hiring an instructor. The tagline of this chapter is, all that we have to fear is fear itself, nothing else. All that we have to fear is fear itself. Next we move to the fourth chapter is Rat Trap. Rat Trap is again a beautiful chapter written by Selma Lagerlöf, a Swedish writer, and she got Nobel Prize in Literature in 1971. It's a beautiful chapter. Rat Trap. The theme of Rat Trap is that the essential goodness in a human being can be awakened by love and understanding. The theme of the chapter is the essential goodness in a human being in the face of material temptation. What is the theme of this chapter is rat trap. Rat trap, we know how the rat trap functions. Rat trap is a closed structure, one side is open and there is kept inside bait which attracts rat, and the bait is put in such a way and rat trap is placed where there is a lot of activity of the rats, and when the rats see the bait hanging, they come and they try to eat it and they get trapped. So here the bigger idea in meaning is there is a metaphorically it is described that the entire world is also rat trap. The entire world is also rat trap. This world offers riches and a lot of temptations, materialistic temptations, and they also shows the way to get instant success, to get instant a lot of money without putting that much of hard effort, and people get tempted and they are caught into the process. So that's a beautiful chapter. You have to read about it. It's about a rat trap seller. He sells rat trap and then he steals some 30 kroners from a crofter, and then he tries to run away from there, and then again he is caught, he is mistaken as a captain, and then he is invited over for the Christmas, but then there he is exposed, and finally it is interesting to see that what makes this rat trap who became a thief, finally he again became a good human being. The next chapter we have is Indigo. Indigo is a biography written by Louis Fisher. Louis Fisher has written the life of Mahatma Gandhi. It is an excerpt of this. Life of Mahatma Gandhi is that book on which the movie Gandhi was made in 80, which won many Oscar academic awards. This chapter is about Gandhiji's action, Gandhiji's assistance, Gandhiji's effort to make the people of Champaran fight their legal case against the British landlords about the cultivation of indigo. And Gandhiji helped people like Rajkumar Shukla and all other people of Champaran who were sharecroppers, and they were facing cruelty and operations and unnecessary legal pressures, and finally Gandhiji freed them from all these things. After that, Gandhiji also tried to look into the social issues like the sanitation, like educations. He also opened a ashram in the model of Gujarat. So that's it's a historical chapter. This chapter gives you a lot of insight into the way of Gandhiji's action, that was non-violence and truth. The sixth chapter, next chapter we move, it is called Poet and Pancakes. Now this is written by Ashoka Mitran. It is again a kind of autobiography. Ashoka Mitran in this chapter has described in a very humorous way his experience of working for Gemini Studio in his prime time. Now first let us talk about the Poet and Pancakes. So when we hear the title Poet and Pancakes, we feel like it is about chef and bakers and some bakery, but no. Pancake was a famous makeup material brand. This chapter is about Gemini Studio. Gemini Studio was a very successful and famous filmmaking production house after post-independence era, just after the independence, based in Chennai. And in this chapter, Ashoka Mitran has described the filmmaking atmosphere, the kind of people were associated with filmmaking for the Gemini Studio, what kind of working culture it had, what kind of political inclination people have. It has described and into this chapter, Pancake was actually a famous makeup brand material which was used to enhance the beauty of actor, actresses and supporter actor, actresses. But on the contrary, in the chapter it is mentioned that people after getting applied the makeup, they looked more heinous, they look more horrible. That's a different story. In the story, there are few characters. There is an office boy, but he is not a boy, he is a man of 40 years. There is a mention of the owner of the Gemini Studio, S.S. Vasan, and there was a Subbu Babu who was ranked 2 in his capacity for the Gemini Studio, and he was a multi-talented person. He could write lyrics, he could direct a movie, he could act also. Now, in the same chapter, there is mention of Frank Buchman's model rearmament army. This chapter students find bit tricky to understand, but really it's very nice chapter. In this chapter, in Gemini Studio, there come 2 visitors. One is Frank Buchman's model rearmament, and this group of people, 200, they come and they got a good host in the Gemini Studio, and they presented 2 plays. One is Jotham Valley and one is Forgotten Factor. In Jotham Valley and Forgotten Factor, they describe the sunset and sunrise view, and they become so much famous with South India, with Tamil filmmaking, that for a long time they had been using this. Now there is another visitor, unknown visitor poet. Since S.S. Vasan, the owner of Gemini Studio, he had a soft corner for the English speaking people, so he became the host for that persons coming to that Gemini Studio. He came and he made a fabulous speech. He spoke in British accent and he spoke so fluently that hardly any persons could get a word out of his speech. And he went, and people never understood the purpose of his coming and making a visit and giving that speech. After a long time, when Ashoka Mitran got retired from his service, he got an invitation to participate in some kind of contest that was getting organized by one of the editors of England Encounter, and he really wanted to participate. When Ashoka Mitran got into details of participation, he came to know that it was the same poet who came to Gemini Studio, and he is the editor of that newspaper, and he was none other than Stephen Spender. In the book, there is a mention of a book called The God That Failed. The God That Failed. So this book was written by 6 very eminent and prop writers from the 6 different parts of the world, and it was presented in 6 different essays. So the name of those writers were Andre Gide, Richard Wright, Ignomazia Soloni, and Arthur Koester, and Stephen Spender, and Louis Fisher. So these 6 writers, they have expressed their journey into communalism and their disillusioned return journey from communalism. This is the book. The next chapter, the 7th chapter, is about interview. This is about media writing. This interview, it has got 2 parts. First part is written by Christopher Sylvester. Christopher Sylvester is written this interview chapter. It is an excerpt taken from an introduction to the Penguin Books of Interview, an anthology from 1859 to present day. In this part of interview, it is described that since when the interview came into practice, what is the importance of interview, what kind of information it imparts to the people, and in this first part, it is described the opinion of some of the world famous writers and poets about how they felt about being interviewed or taking interview. This is the first part. Second part is a live interview taken by the editor of newspaper Hindu. The editor's name was Mukund Padmanabhan. Mukund Padmanabhan, the editor of newspaper Hindu, he took the interview of Umberto Eco. Umberto Eco was a professor in Bologna, University of Italy. He was an academician, but he used to write novels on Sunday. And there is something very nicely he explained in the chapter. He said that in everybody's life, there is a lot of empty space. He termed those empty space as interstices. And he said that if one can learn to use productively these interstices, everybody will have a lot of free time in one's life. And Umberto Eco said that this entire universe, there is so much of a space that if we take out the space from there, the entire universe could come in our fist. So there is a nice lesson teaching about time management. There is one book, novel written by Umberto Eco, the name of Rose. This book became world famous and millions of copies of this book were sold. And when Umberto Eco was asked the reason for the success of his book, he was clueless. He said that even I did not know why this book became so important, because it was dealing with history, medieval history. It was such a dull topic written on. And Umberto Eco said that had this book written 10 years before or 10 years after, this would not have become so famous as it is. Now, the last chapter of this book is Going Places, written by A.R. Barton, English writer. This Going Places, the theme of this chapter is adolescent fantasizing, daydreaming, and hero worship. In this chapter, there is a girl called Sophie. She gives herself lot into daydreaming, and she is into fantasizing and hero worship. She imagines of doing lot of things which her education, which her qualification, which her family background, financial support doesn't allow her to do all those experiments. Sophie says that she would become a fashion designer, she would have a boutique for herself, she would become a manager, and she fabricates a lot of story. She dreams of going with Danny Casey on a date. Danny Casey was an Irish soccer player, star football player of the rank like Messi and Ronaldo. And Sophie discusses to his family members, to her brother, that she would go on a date with Danny Casey, which is all a kind of fantasy, daydreaming and hero worship. So today I have explained all those 8 chapters in a very briefly, only in a matter of fact to arouse that interest in you so that you will read this. This is primarily for class 12th student, but then this is for everybody. Tomorrow in the next video of mine, I will come with all 6 poems given in this book, because I do not want to linger this video for a longer time. I want to keep it short. Tomorrow I will come and discuss all 6 poems of the book Flamingo. Keep reading stories, keep telling stories, keep practicing communication skill, having that trust and believe in yourself that you are a good public speaker. Jai Hind.